Unusual chunks of smoke emerging from a tree in the middle of the night. Awkward tales of people feeling lost and wandering right at the heart of their home backyard. A horrible stench envelopes a supposedly calm afternoon with no visible sign from where it came. They can be your best unseen friend or your worst invisible enemy. Today, we'll be exploring the origins as well as some known iterations from one of Filipinos' folklore beings, the Kapre. A Kapre is an entity described as a giant wearing the indigenous Bahag clothing that resides on huge trees. The term Kapre came from the Arabic term kafir, meaning non-believer in Islam. This term was believed to be passed down by the Spaniard colonists that had previous encounters with Moors, a loose and somewhat derogatory remark to European Muslim people in the 16th century. It was highly believed that the Spaniards created the myth of the Kapre to dissuade Filipinos from interacting with the African slaves they brought here to the Philippines when they invaded. Kapres are famously known for smoking a tobacco cigar that is believed to cinder endlessly on top of big trees such as manga, acacia, and to no surprise, the balete tree. Considered nocturnal beings, they range from 7 to 9 feet with incredibly dark skin, bright bloodshot eyes, and long rugged hair, drawing some resemblance from the Bigfoot stories of America or the Yeti of Middle Asia. They wear a rugged belt clothing that has the ability to make them invisible, and in some iterations, known to hold a magical white stone, almost the size of a quail egg. Any human that can get a hold of this stone will be given the power to wish anything they want, and it will be granted. Kapres are considered to be gentle giants. As much they are considered to be the scariest among the creatures of folklore, they generally do not harm people and would prefer watching them together with their pets and livestock. They like to play pranks with humans by making small objects disappear out of nowhere, making them search endlessly, and then bringing back the object once they have given up. Another instance of this playful mischief is of people reporting getting lost in their own backyard. People tell stories as if they lost their way in the middle of their own home, unable to tell where to go, and would go in circles, having no sense of direction. Pinaglaruan ng kapre, or enchanted by a kapre, as local folks would call it. Weird as it may seem to those who befall it, these stories have been familiar in home backyards with a sprouting large tree, where kapres can dwell to their liking. Some people say there are a few relatively easy signs to tell if a kapre is dwelling on a large tree. The first is the presence of a foul smell. Their tobacco, whereas some say a ganja pipe, emits a pungent foul smell, enough to make humans vomit. The second sign is the presence of an unusual smoke enveloping the tree. This sign may or may not come hand in hand with a foul smell odor, but is easy to tell since you can directly see rather than having to go near the tree to be able to smell the stench. Another telltale sign is a weird rustling of leaves on a dry day. It is said that this rustling is the kapre navigating the tree to find a better resting spot on the branches where it can either continue sleeping or smoking their tobacco, or better yet, a more comfortable viewing angle to watch the humans. Some people tell stories of seeing huge bright eyes among the leaves or branches, while some tell stories of an eerie, sinister laughter echoing throughout the vicinity of the tree. The last one is the presence of a herd of fireflies circling unusually in and out of the branches, as these are believed to be the embers of the tobacco that the kapre is smoking. As we have mentioned before, kapres are usually benevolent creatures, They are playful creatures like the duende, rather than the malevolent ones like the white lady and aswang, enchanting travelers in the forest, getting them disoriented and lost in the process, but meaning them no harm. Stories of travelers wandering in circles deep in the forest are usually associated with a kapre. To remove the illusion, one is advised to remove their clothing and turn it inside out. In other stories, it is said that you may need the help of someone to wake you up in the illusion, sort of how an albularyo dispels someone out of a curse. These creatures are believed to be only seen under two circumstances. One is if it has considered you a friend, and two, by a woman it has fallen in love with. It is believed that once you have been friends with a kapre, you can see him much like you see any normal human. However, nobody else but you can. If at any point you wanted to prove you are friends with one, the only way you can let everyone know about the kapre is if you can sit on them, which at that point grants everyone else to see him. While they are not known to give treasures like the duende has, being friends with them gives someone viewing access to their mystical powers, and probably to some degree, wishes that they grant to humans.
Befriending a kapre, some would say is a blessing, but they are your typical best of friends, worst of enemies type of being as well. It is said that they will shower you with luck and good fortune if you are friends, but all hell breaks loose if you ever try to get rid of them or even attempt to end your friendship. They are just as vengeful as they are friendly. Kapres are also keen to get attracted to beautiful women. Once a kapre sets his sight to a woman, their lust goes beyond relentless in pursuing and will give everything in their ability to have them. From direct confrontation as their own self, to disguising as an actual man, kapres are fearsome when in love. There had been accounts of kapres using their mystical prowess to take advantage of a woman, rendering them unconscious and doing their sexual acts as their human body is suspended motionless. It also doesn't help if you're a man in love with a woman that a kapre has set his eyes on. The moment a kapre knows this feeling is omnipresent, it will do everything to make the life of that man miserable, sometimes driving him crazy enough to make him commit suicide. In Visayas, they are known as Agta, in reference to Aita indigenous tribes. However, there are other versions in their folklore, known as the races of Ungo and Bawo. These iterations are described as giant, dark, muscular men in loincloths that love to smoke tobacco pipes. Blatantly doing something against their favor will experience punishment by getting a huge latik in your forehead. Their other means of punishment include stealing wood logs at a human's home, and even their laundry clothes. The Ungo in Visayan folklore is known to be a huge person possessed with mystical powers that attacks him from time to time, causing changes to his form as a crawling monster. When he transforms into one, he seeks viscera and lust for human blood. The Bawo, meanwhile, has a more closer description to the Kapre generally. Giant, dressed in loincloths, inhabiting large trees, and loves to smoke. In Mindanao, one known iteration of the Kapre is a Tama from the Manobo myth. This being is the same as of your classic Kapre, dark, scary, smoking giant dwelling on huge trees. However, as contrary to the known gentle giants, they are highly violent and mischievous versions of the Kapre. They are mostly found on unexplored parts of deep forests and are known to not miss a chance to lull travelers out their way. They do this by continuously uttering out eerie distress sounds, disorienting travelers until they lose track of where they are and end up in circles. They are believed to be guardians of deers and wild pigs. Another version of the Manobo Kapre myths from the south are two beings known as Apila and Mandayangan. Apila is known to be the god of wrestling and sports, while Mandayangan is a harmless humanoid giant that is known to live off deep in the forest. These two are considered rival beings and would endlessly compete for the wrestling throne. Local beliefs tell stories that if you see unusual rustling of leaves or swaying branches even on a dry, windless night, these are the doing of these two beings, wrestling and competing again at each other. Perhaps the most infamous Kapre in the Philippines can be found in Luzon, much like how the folklore of White Lady is famous on the outskirts of Baleta Drive. The infamous Kapre can be found in none other than the home of the President of the Republic itself, the Malacanang Palace. Commonly known as Mr. Brown, this Kapre is a familiar man to all current and has been residents of the palace, be it the President, the First Family, the security guards, or even down to the household personnel themselves. Old accounts of stories from before tell of him as a playful but harmless being, often playing with tripwires and electronics to prank people if he hasn't been greeted before and after doing your usual palace business. Mr. Brown has become such a commoner at the palace that in May of 2011, the baleta tree, to which is believed to be its home, has been declared a heritage tree. The tree has been known to be around since the 1800s, and for the reasons quoted as, has been a mute symbol to Philippine history and is a fitting symbol of the Philippines' commitment to the United Nations Decade on Biodiversity. As with any other beings of folklore, the tales of Kapre have been passed down for generations. The rich culture of the Philippines has indeed surpassed beyond the standard heritage and dwelled beyond the mystics. Of course, there will always be two sides to the coin, one side to the believers, and the other side belonging to the skeptics. Be it a product of the creative imagination, an induced hallucination, or as real as our perceived reality, the tales of these beings have permeated our culture and will most likely stay for as long as they will.